Alright, now it's a lovely Saturday morning. About 55 right now, but it'll warm up nicely. And now I need to pull the wheels off, pull the axles, and then I'm thinking about something else. If some of the older viewers may remember the 66 Nova I had that I swapped for the 36 Ford. Well, now I have the opportunity to get it back. I don't know if I need that thing or not. It's got some more parts with it and the engine that was in it, but it's out. But it's still pretty rusty Nova. It needs lots of work, so I don't know. You may have noticed I got plenty of projects already. Anyway, let me get this car apart. Alright, got the wheels off. I don't have a light real handy, but you might be able to see that little shiny spot there at the wheel seal. The wheel seal's leaking a little bit. I don't feel any up and down motion in the bearing, but the leaking wheel seal's a bad sign. So in a minute here we'll get the axles out and see what we see. We'll probably err on the side of caution. That one's just a little bit wet. Err on the side of caution and put new bearings in it. Hear that? Preacher's Nova. Sun was in the shot, couldn't see it. Anyway. You can see I got one C-clip out. I was wrong when I said you need to take the springs out to do that. The axle pushed in far enough. And I've still got that one to remove, which I'm going to do with a magnet. Unfortunately, I got two hands occupied with the camera and the light, so I'm going to have to do that off camera. And then we'll jerk the axles out. Well, we can't tell too much like that other than the seal was leaking. So I guess we'll do some disassembly. And these are the axles. This one's out of the driver's side. I'm going to clean them up and see how everything looks. I don't see anything too bad so far. Did you get all your yard work done?
Yes.
All right,
except
good.
for mowing.
All right, good. Will you come over here and get these wheel bearings out?
Yeah, sure. I'll get right on that.
Okay, good. Because I ain't got the right puller around here to do it with. Let me see if I can come up with some ingenuity. Put some ingenuity to it and come up with a way.
Okay.
Got any ideas? That's what I was afraid of.
Sorry about that.
I could have had one of those I do believe my pants are on fire videos like 63 Impala if it wasn't so uncomfortable on my leg there before I could get to the camera. That frayed cotton lights up pretty quick. Anyway, I welded that together. Don't worry, my leg is not harmed. I'm sure many of you have experienced what I'm experiencing right now. She's trying to talk me into buying something. But anyway, my little puller worked out pretty good. Huh? So a little body slide hammer and pop the bearing right out. Of course, I'm going to have to replace it now since I boogered it up when I missed one time.
You missed?
Yes, I did. But
that must be that 0.1% non-perfectness.
that's right. That's right. No, it's 0.9%.
I thought little Mr. Heavy Chevy said it was 99.999.
Well, he's wrong. It's more like 99.1.
Okay.
Right. But this has just dropped my average, so now I'm at like 98.6.
Right? You better
something.
step up your game.
That's right. Alright, I've confirmed my suspicions. I don't know if you can see it, you probably can't, but those rollers have pits in them. That's on the driver's side, the side I suspected was making noise. And this side is the passenger side. It looks pretty good, but I'm gonna put a new one in it anyhow. That is, if I can get the girl at the parts store to know what I'm talking about. Here lately I've been recommending channels to watch. Of course, you got Stovevolt 50. He makes good videos, but he long spells in between them. Chevaholic, same deal with him, not quite as long a spell. Shut Your Face Garage, so on. Cutworm 59. But another one is Tubal Cain, Mr. Pete 222. The guy, he's in addition to a whole lot of very what do I want to say, big opportunities to learn stuff. The guy's a machinist and teach you a lot of things about lathes and whatnot. He's also funny. He says he's a man of many lamentations. Here's something that might be of interest to a few of you. This is how I'm getting the U-joint out. I've already popped that cap out, and what I did is I laid these caps in the vise like so, and then take a dead blow hammer, give it a good solid whack, and the caps will come up. Now this U-joint has been replaced, but if you got a factory U-joint, they put nylon in there to lock it in place, and the only way to get those to release is take a torch and heat it up, and then it'll squirt right out, and then you can get the U-joint out. Otherwise it ain't coming out. Now you got to be careful doing this, or you'll lose those little needle bearings that are in there. A lot of times you take them apart and you'll see the groove wore in the cross there from the bearings. This one's not in too bad a shape. It's just starting to show signs of wear. And then on this particular one, it's the caps are retained by these inside snap rings. Sometimes you'll find them on the outside. Oh yeah, and here's something else. The preacher told me about a fellow that had some heads for sale. So I went and took a look and bought them. They're 461 castings, the old double hump heads. They got 194 valves in them. They're not matching though. That date code is H224. And this one's F105. So they're made at a different time, but they're the same head. I got a 327. I might put them on, and a Wind Team G intake. Sometimes if stuff's real cheap, I'll buy it, even if I don't need it, which is a bad habit. We're making the parts run in the 55, but I just got one question. What means zipped up your boots?
I don't know.
Mrs. Heavy Chevy has accused me of being prejudiced. She said if that wasn't a cute girl in the parts store, that I would have been mad when it took her so long to figure everything out.
And that you had to look it up.
Yeah, I had to look it up in the book for her. Well, there may be some truth to that. I don't think prejudiced is the right word, is it?
That's the word you used.
What word would you use?
Well, it's preference.
I suppose. How come you didn't order air conditioning with this truck?
Well, I've spoke of it multiple times.
Yeah.
That and heat too.
Heat?
Yeah.
It's getting pretty warm here. I'm thinking we might need some air conditioning.
Well, winter will come too at some point.
Yeah, it's only going to get hotter first though. Let's go see if these parts fit that we got from that cute little Mexican girl at the parts store. Alright, I went down and dug around and I found another yoke. These are some 241 gears, I think. I don't really remember how I got those. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I thought I had a good yoke, but that one pretty boogered up right there. And this one I was a little suspect of because the cap was loose. However, it could have been this saddle right here. Well, not this particular one, but the one that was on it. It was pretty boogered up, like a U-joint broke one time. So I don't know, let me investigate a little here and see what I decide. The cute Mexican girl down there didn't know what a crush sleeve was, but I called another parts store and ran into a guy who did, and they have one, so I'm going to send lovely Mrs. Heavy Chevy down there to get it. It costs $1.69.
And we're going to burn probably $10 in fuel.
Well, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Alright, hurry back now. I'm going to stay here and keep working. Alright, bye. Alright, I've cleaned up the axles. Ooh, my chair falls to the ground. Ooh, watch I don't knock an axle on my head. These bearing surfaces look very nice on the axles. Now, I got these bearings from the parts store, which are their RP and then the parts, then the regular part number, which is 5707. And what that does is it relocates the bearing to the outside, which normally rides right there, and then puts the seal right there, which is a good thing. But these bearings are a little bit more pricey and don't look like I need them. So I've asked the wife to see if they've got the regular bearings while she's at the parts store, and I may just put those on. I may. And then I cleaned up this yoke that was in it. It looks better once you get it cleaned up. There was some paint there making things look worse. There's a very slight amount of wear right there. And the yoke I thought I was going to use is pretty much junk. So I don't know. I'm going to put the U-joint together and see how I feel about it. I'm going to use it. Alright, that's what I'm talking about there. That's the one that was on the car. It's pretty boogered up. Makes you wonder why I'd put that on there, don't it? That one don't look too bad. This is one that was on the other yoke, and that's pretty boogered up too. You can buy these new, and I may have some. I need to look around, and if I don't, I better hurry up and call the wife and tell her to get some of those too. Well, I found a few more, but they ain't new and they're worser than what I got, so I guess I better call the wife. Alright, got the new pinion seal in, the yoke back on. I'm not going to tell you just how I did it, because I just don't care to hear about how I did it wrong. So, but it was done precisely and correctly. Now I'm going to put in my new bearings. For some reason they don't have the original type in stock unless it's the cheapos made in China, which I ain't using, so I'm going to use these repair type. Won't hurt nothing. These, the seal is integral with them. It's on the inside. It moves the sealing point from the outside to the inside, which I think will be okay, so I'm going to put that together and keep going here. Actually, it's got a seal on the outside and a wiper on the inside, so it looks like it's more better, I guess. Alright, after I wounded my thumb right there, pinch it between the hammer and the old bearing, driving this in, I came up with this device. Took a hose clamp, wrapped it around the bearing to help hold it on there, and then use these pliers to hold it while I whack the old bearing with a big brass hammer. It takes some force to get that bearing in there. So this way I'll ensure I don't smash my fingers no more and not mess up the new bearing. There, it's in all the way. I measured the shoulder and stuff just to be sure what it was supposed to stick out, and that's right. Plus you can hear it when you're tapping it when it's seated. With a little experience, you can hear it, feel it. The axles are in, C-clips are in. I had to get a little assistance from that one. And now I'm ready to put in the center pin, which shows a slight amount of wear, but that's to be expected because it's pretty old stuff here.
Yeah.
So I think it's gonna work again. Alright, now we're ready to put this little bolt in, which holds the pin in, which holds everything together in there. So I'm gonna put a little Loctite on that because I don't want that to fall out. It may mean that I'll need to heat it up with a propane torch when I take it apart next time a little bit to loosen the Loctite, but that's okay. There, we've installed the new U-joint. The lovely Mrs. Heavy Chevy helped me. You're so funny.
Why?
You're standing there grinning like a cat that ate a bird or something. I don't know.
Okay.
Anyway, got the snap rings in there on the inside. It moves very nicely. Got the Zerk installed. And that's your first U-joint, right?
No, I've helped you with U-joints before.
Oh. Okay, well, it's not her first time. Sorry. Now, Mrs. Heavy Chevy forgot to remind me to buy the seal for the transmission.
Because I automatically knew that you would need it.
Well, sure. But I think I have one in inventory. I think that's the right one. That's left over from the... In addition to working on cars, I'm also the neighborhood bike mechanic.
Yeah.
But that's okay. That's okay. Alright, where was I? I was talking about
the seal.
Oh yeah, I just happened to have one in inventory because the black truck has a transfer case and didn't need that seal in the output shaft of the transmission. Anyway, I hope it's right. We're going to find out in a second. Hey, look who showed up. He's going to build a quadrijet for me. Actually, he's going to tear it apart because this has got a lot of good parts in it, but it's one I ain't going to use. It's one with an MC solenoid. So I got a lot of good parts. You turned it the wrong way, but here, ratcheting.
I know. I was
You were turning it that way. There you go. It's got a good choke thermostat in it. And there's some other parts inside we can use. We can use that. We can use that secondary rod hanger. And we'll see what else. Oh, look, it's got a little solenoid for AC. In case we decide to put AC on something. You still got energy after riding bikes all that time?
Yeah.
Okay, good. And then over here we've jacked up the front of the car so that it will be level so we can fill up the differential with oil and check the oil in the transmission. And then I tipped over a can of gear oil right there and spilled it, which by the way, that stuff's $8 a quart. Good grief, this hobby's getting expensive. Might have you get a job, bud.
I don't know about that.
What's that?
I don't know about that. I'm only a kid once.
You're right, bud. Alright, we got it all back together. Transmission's full of oil. Differential's full of oil. Back tire's on. We're going to fire it up and put it in gear and let it run and just make sure we don't hear no funny noises. Wet in your hands, bud.
And my hands are full of oil.
That's alright. Good for you. Let's see how you did on the carburetor. Oh, done pretty good. Now you just need to get the top off. It's almost there. You just got to pop out that little pin, take that rod out, and it'll come right off. going on here, mister? Looks like to me, Mommy done it.
No, I was working on it.
She's got it in her hand. Alright, now you got to get that gasket out of the way. And see what else we can use in there. There's not a whole bunch. Careful, don't bend those little doodaddies, doodlollies. Alright, while they're doing that, I'm going to set the car down on the ground. I've decided I'm going to make it four-wheel drive. It's a lot easier to get in and out of it this height. At my age. Well, we took it for a ride. I didn't hear any weird noises. Everything seemed to act fine. So I think it's a success. And there's no oil pouring out of it underneath of it. So I think we're good. But time will tell. But now I'm going to go ahead and get a bite to eat and relax.